Hello, fellow degenerates worldwide. I welcome you to the first episode of whatever the fuck this here is. I hope my audio is okay for now, and also hope that YouTube doesn't autoplay. Well, there we go. First fail, but there are no fails. They're just happy little accidents. So yeah, this is episode number 1 of a community call, extended one. I'd love to keep this in a format of open calls by you guys. Stuff is generally unlisted on YouTube, so feel free to call in and let's exchange our thoughts on the various subjects. Subjects that will include, for today, at least for a pilot episode. I think it's a lot of stuff, and since I'm a lazy fuck that didn't really get to do the whole write down in celebration of the 2nd-year anniversary of our little community we have, I just thought I'll put it down that way. So let's, for starters, go and just take a quick look at the market, because there's a little tradition here I maybe want to kick off, which goes in a sense that we check out the price at the start, or check out the market, and at the start and at the end of every episode, and at the end we'll discover how much money we lost and or gained during that show. So take notes, everybody. It's $10,917 for the start. Generally speaking, it all looks, well, not completely fucked, but it's getting there. We're just looking at this consolidation here on this strong uptrend on the daily since end of July. Looks like we might go for a bit of dip still, if I had to take a wild guess. But yeah, we shall see at the end of the episode for now. So, what's all the fuss about, actually? Well, it's been a year. It's been a great group. We had a bit of a bear market last year. Well, that was to be expected given the overall mania we have also experienced. And naturally, as with any bear market, it comes that many members get into inactivity. Some get BTFO. Others have completely different to leave. Completely different reasons to leave. Excuse me. I'm a little bit of a fuzzball tonight, let's say. And in this 1 year from our inception, we have experienced a lot of, let's say, practical dilemmas when it comes to the question of how to develop decentralized trust across, well, mainly anonymous relationships that you entertain with other people of any given community. So oh shit, my mic is muted. Give me 1 second. Excuse me, I got a little bit distracted here. So as I said, from the inception onwards, it was really like a Wild West situation where you get all kinds of people joining, and we mainly took the course to have an invite based system with a senior member giving his voucher for any newly recruited members that he might have referred, and that for the most part did work. Yet if we look at membership numbers at the peak, there were somewhere around I think we were just shy of 100, somewhere at 97 or so, and that does include the bots. We are by now down to roughly, I'd say, 55 or so, if we subtract just the number of bots. That, and taken into addition the effect of many lurkers that we have, it just raises questions as to how we develop a future for this community or not, and what the means are going to be to accomplish that. Not only the means, but also what is history of by now 2 years and some have taught us so far. And I think there are a lot of lessons in there. Lessons mainly attached to names. Former people we had a questionable joy of like having relationships with, some of which held high positions in the way we organize our group as well, which is also kind of tying into the whole decentralized trust aspect, around which very much all of this market and all of this speculation, fundamentally speaking, kind of revolves. So yes, um, I guess the most relevant of the history for our future starts with, ever since I think there was the winter of 2018 when we kicked off the this one Telegram group we are using right now, with something like, at the ballpark of, I think, 500,000 messages or so sent thus far. It's not completely accurate. The bot was dead at times. Whoever's responsible for that, right? So yes, uh, if we are going to get right into it, I think the story of Bobby Fischer, formerly known as Coinologist, who was, at early times, a former member of the group, holding a fairly high rank, also taking influence, towards decisions, at least in name, when it came to, let's say, tougher questions for group strategy. Um, Turned out this guy is, activated Protocol Zero and DFE'd, which is to say he deleted fucking everything and simply went poof. So, well, take from that what you want. Um, the history of Bobby, of course, would not be complete if we weren't to mention the ICO for Vulpos. He and another gentleman called Fadi Admo ran together. Um, like if you're looking for entertainment, there are some choice quotes by our friend, uh, or by our friends, I shall say, courtesy of our Bulgarian stallion. Look it up. It's quite something. So generally speaking, the big issue here is that quite unreliable and, frankly speaking, people not not being able to hold such trust into them, which they were absolutely willfully exploiting at a certain point in time, which is a mechanic of, I think, most of social engineering. Um, he actually, to my knowledge, him and Fadi Admo were able to even capitalize on some of the funds. But, yeah, well, I think the issue here, uh, quite clear. So this also raises concerns in regards to, the whole voucher system in its most extreme form. We can go back and just, uh, acknowledge that Bobby Beckner, or Fischer, I'm not sure anymore. Beckner, excuse me. Fischer was the chess player guy. Um, was not only recommended but also vouched for by Wolf at some point, and he were also left in an administrative position after the whole schism with Wolf and going to Discord or whatever happened, again at the end of 2018. So question coming from that, probably. How do you, in a sense, implement a system of know your Mason? And there are certainly considerations and thoughts as to how a decent looking system to decentralize, maybe tokenize, maybe weight the trust for each individual group member can be reflected in a sense and in a culture of some sorts. Um, which brings me on to another point, and maybe yes, this is the next big subject that is certainly worth discussing, which is the conduction of ICOs and general movement of funds amongst members. While, of course, we aren't in any position to tell anyone um, how to handle their assets. That's not it. But the thing here is, you always need to be aware that all possible trust you are developing over time with an anonymous person that you have no hard facts or vouches for, or prior experience, let's say, in conducting business, a successful one at that, hopefully. You're certainly going for the 100% risk of loss, and there are little to no ways for any of the administration to avoid that. If you, well, even if you get into contact with those and just have an escrow type transaction between two members, whatever that may entail. But given how social engineers have like an absolute cakewalk in this space, brackets trademark, it is just expected that you need to put some extra brain into the whole ordeal and just not lend yourself towards, well, making a loss, or at the very least be aware that there is a potential 100% loss to be expected. Then there's no one to take actual responsibility for you but yourself, which then again is a segue into an absolute hilarious saga of Haitian trader, also a long tenured, um, active, formally active, quite, how do I put it, orderly guy, always on top of things. For whatever reason, decided to flush down his trust and his social credit as a Grand Mason to, well, a laughably small amount of money, which he simply bailed on and could not repay another member. Well, there's a lesson in there, uh, something to learn from anyone. So, coming out of a bear market, what are the lessons in here? I mean, there were certainly quite amazing gains for this time of the year, for 2017. I hope so for most of us, at least. That's not too shabby. That is indeed very okay. So, seeing that kind of setup does remind me of a certain market structure you had around 2016, I believe. And at the end of the day, the plebs, the plebeians will flood this market again, which will be fun. We're not there yet, obviously. And this means for us there's a great opportunity to actually form a solid network of great analysts and experts at their craft who can either vouch for one of their contacts to join as one way we could go at recruitment. A strict recommendation only principle, so to speak, and just per invite, which is hard down the line, but it certainly incentivizes more stricter quality focus aspects around the whole conversation in general. And there should be a decision, I think, in a few weeks from here. I think at the start of September, maybe by mid September, to open up and promote another like public Zer group for, we used to call them initiates, and have a little bit of a competition going on there, seeding out the best, having members, or giving members the ability to publish their analysis or TA or thoughts or whatever into a public channel. Full Masons, as of now, can then, for example, upvote or give their endorsement for certain analysis, and as some threshold is hit, you give these people their grounds to prove themselves for real, and add it to the conversation, and also learn a thing or two, make others learn a thing or two. So what I absolutely appreciated in the 2 years this group has existed so far. Yeah. Guess my smart little notes. And on that note, when it comes to most of the past anti-present, which is a perfect entry into the questions for the future. So just to bring everybody up to speed, I guess. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier or not, but since we don't actually hold a common stake in anything for the better part of the last year, there was a lot of internal discussion about kicking up a fund, a decentralized one at that. And given how Mr. Komako, aka Pat, is also a fellow administrator of ours, the question quickly formed it to us, or forced us going into a route of some Daoification, so to say. What all that whole Daoism, schisms, and jisms will entail, well, that's certainly for a whole nother episode. By no means am I able to give the full encompassing clue on that one. Yet it provides us with a certain tokenizability for our trust, which in itself is a pretty genius concept if you really think about all the implications that come with that. So the too long didn't read edition would be that Grand Masons will hold a 51% of reputational stake in the DAO, and any stakeholder, so 49 of those tokens, will be available to the public, or let's say the closed public, as in full members, are able to acquire in many ways, shapes, or forms reputation on the DAO to increase their voting power towards certain proposals, or maybe post proposals of themselves. We do try to keep it for now. That sounds shitty. If I phrase it like that. No, our greatest concern for now is to have an incentive structure that works strictly anti-corruption, and as it now stands, which is pretty bare bones, it should succeed at that. As soon as other features are to be added, we'll see further about how the great architectural phase here worked out or not. So much for DAOs and funds, and yeah, as I said, recruitment should be back on the menu. Let's say 3 weeks down here. And for future applications, we need to ensure to kind of have the trust in check with the persons we're going to give full access. In case you see any red flags, generally it goes like, I don't know, asking various people of the group for money. Just be aware, either that's an investment or outright begging. Just eventually it always comes down to it. Right. We'll also have a look at the validity of the whole grandfathering process from about a year and a half ago, since from the 55 or so members that I've counted, there are indeed at the very least 15 to 20 lurkers in there. The purge must always continue, as you know. Right. Well, we did dump for around $40, if I'm not mistaken, 35, somewhere around that. That's not too shabby. And yeah, at this point there should have been parting words or so. Honestly, I'm awfully unprepared for this one. But nonetheless, if you think there is a future in a format like that, have some guys from the community call in. I would schedule these, let's say, for 3 times a month or so, and every time the event would be set up 1 week in advance. So there will be a more fluent and say permanent discussion to the whole conversation we enjoy in Telegram itself. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Any feedback and so on, and I think there's loads. If you got it, you know where to hit me up, either here or in the comments, and I'll see you later.